They made their decision when they abandoned you. You will now make your own decisions while they deal with the repercussions. You will now watch in silence as justice is served, just as they did when you most needed them. No intervention, no pity, no rescue. All debts are balanced by the cosmos, and today is the due date. They left you when you needed them most, and now they stand by themselves, just as they did before. Remember those times, the social media pile-on, when alleged pals remained mute, the family meal where lies about you went uncontested, the staff meeting where they nodded along while your ideas were attributed to someone else, the rumors they let to spread like wildfire while claiming neutrality. Like a heavenly forensic detective, the universe has been recording at 8K resolution all along. With each knife inserted into your back, it has been gathering fingerprints, text messages, surveillance footage, financial transactions, and private chats that they believed would vanish into thin air are all scattered across the celestial evidence room. They left you out of the group chat. They forgot to invite you to the birthday party. They knew you deserved the promotion but said nothing. They made a false accusation when one truth could have cleared your name. They never went to the hospital bed. They never paid back the loan. They gladly stole credit, and they allowed their reputation to be damaged when a simple "that's not true" would have made all the difference. These people weren't unfamiliar. They were the ones who texted you, thinking of you, referred to you as bestie and fam, ate holiday meals at your table, knew your phone's passcode, and saw your generosity firsthand, but conveniently developed amnesia when speaking up would have cost them something. Their treachery was recorded in red receipts, blue check marks, seen notifications, and the abrupt quiet that followed your frantic "can we talk?" When you needed allies, their planned neutrality wasn't cosmic. Rather, it was cowardice, masquerading as spirituality. The universe's backup drive is currently downloading, and it contains gigabytes of receipts. The group text in which they planned everything was recovered. The private conversation in the break room that someone overheard. The financial transactions they believed to be untraceable were flagged. The documents they altered were preserved with metadata. The lies they told under oath were contradicted by their own prior statements, and the fake social media accounts they created were logged with IP addresses. It's similar to witnessing someone who believed they erased their browser history learn that everything was saved on the cloud. Their digital footprint is a neon expressway that will lead them to unanticipated consequences. The most lovely thing about this justice is that it takes no work on your part, no arguments, no posting of receipts, no complex schemes of retaliation. The universal algorithm runs on its own. It is your responsibility to let justice roll freely downward. It is not your business to push it uphill. Now take a look at these individuals who believed they were so strong, so intelligent, and so above the bounds of world law. Watch them scurry like insects when the darkness is flooded with sunlight. As their united front disintegrates into dust, observe how they turn against one another in a desperate attempt to rescue themselves. That one over there, looking terrified. Do you recall how they nodded in agreement when you were the target of lies? When you were painted with deceptive hues? Do you recall how they stood silently complicit? For their treachery, that one was rewarded with 30 pieces of silver, to use a metaphor. Throughout the ages, the old cost of treachery has remained relatively constant, and that one's conscience burns them from the inside out as they try to escape, to cross borders before judgment arrives. They are aware of what they have done, and they sense that the cosmic noose is getting tighter every hour. The extent to which they realize that money is now due is demonstrated by their frantic attempts to stage their own escape. See how the foundations of the religious institution that sheltered these conspirators and offered holy justification for immoral behavior tremble. When the truth decides to shake things up, institutions based on lies can't survive. Their authority will vanish like salt in cosmic waters. Their hallowed sanctuaries will be empty, and their treasuries will empty. One stood out among them, a glimmer of heavenly light, still glimmering in their clouded soul. One who watched the proceedings with increasing unease, and one who realized, possibly too late, that harming a being under divine protection had repercussions that are beyond mortal comprehension. Once seen as one of your adversaries, this whistleblower has come forward to shine. Years of meticulously crafted illusions are washed away by their testimony, which flows like pure water. They talk about gatherings where your devastation was meticulously prepared. They expose documents that have been maliciously falsified. When the moon was dark in the sky, they admitted to attacking you spiritually. Every information is revealed, including the names of all participants, the amount of money spent, and the methods used. With hate in their eyes, the others gaze upon this truth-teller. They grit their teeth and hiss, "Traitor!" However, who actually betrayed whom? The universal laws of justice were betrayed by these conspirators. Their greater selves were betrayed. When they choose to oppose someone who walks in light, they betrayed the divine spark that was inside of them. Despite their best efforts to remove you from this earthly plane, you continued to stand, breathe, and live while this tempest raged around you, sometimes invisible. Are you aware of the exceptional nature of this? Are you aware of how resilient you are spiritually? With unrelenting determination, they threw everything at you. False reports intended to deprive you of your basic rights, disseminated through safeguards, character assassination campaigns, carefully planned to isolate you from possible allies, spread like poison through communities you once trusted. Financial attacks intended to undermine your material foundation, targeted at your most vulnerable financial moments. And spiritual warfare, targeted at your very soul, launched during your most vulnerable moments. But despite this flurry of well-planned attacks, you managed to stay upright. Perhaps wounded, but unbeaten. Unbowed and unbreakable, you may have some wounds from wars fought in the visible and invisible worlds, but you are victorious in the deepest sense of the word. The most ruthless judge must be faced by everyone. The 3 a.m. dialogue with their own inner voice, which asks, "Was it worth it? Did you want to be like this?" An appeal of this decision is not possible. Look, if you're paying attention, you already know that the game is rigged and that the walls are closing in. Let's discuss our current course of action. People want to be heard, held accountable, and treated fairly while they live their lives at the mercy of the market, when profit and property dominate the land. With the authority of natural law, the universe has given you a very clear directive. Do nothing at all. The complete circus is about to be performed. I know we haven't spoken in months, but I really need your help right now, will be said in a shaky voice during the tearful phone contact. The selective amnesia will manifest in bewildered texts asking, "I don't understand why you're being so cold." The handy spiritual awakening will arrive in long messages saying, "I've been doing a lot of healing work and realized I wasn't a good friend to you. I've always been there for you." The guilt trip will manifest as emotional pleas that remind you, "Are you really going to leave me now, after everything we've been through?" The social media bat signal will appear as ambiguous posts about identifying your true friends during trying times. The mutual friend messenger will abruptly get in touch with you and explain they're really going through a hard time and just need someone to talk to. After 6 months of stillness, the unexpected reminder of your existence will appear in the form of casual notes that say, "Hey stranger, long time, no talk. I miss you. You are not here by accident." If you feel the pull, the knowing deep inside that you are chosen, this is your moment. Click the super thank you button and give $50 or more to unlock deeper insights, exclusive content, and a path that aligns with your divine purpose. This isn't just a contribution, it's a declaration, a step toward who you were meant to be. Answer the call, walk with us, and step fully into your destiny. Your journey begins now. Your response to all of these performances, the exact same energy they gave when you called in tears after that betrayal and they were suddenly busy, the same attention they offered when you needed a witness to speak truth about what really happened and they conveniently forgot the details. The identical urgency they showed when you asked for the money they owed you when your rent was due and they promised to get it to you soon. The equivalent presence they provided when you were in the hospital waiting for visitors who never came because something more important came up. The matching responsiveness they demonstrated when you sent that vulnerable text that got left unread for days before receiving a generic reply. The comparable support they extended when you faced those false accusations alone while they stayed silent to protect their own interests. The equal enthusiasm they expressed when you celebrated that achievement to crickets while they lavished praise on others for lesser accomplishments. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. John 1:5. Now let me paint a picture for you, beloved. Imagine a seed buried deep in the soil, forgotten, dismissed, overlooked. No spotlight, no applause, just dirt, weight, and silence. But even in the unseen, something sacred is happening. That seed isn't dead, it's being positioned, planted, not buried. And in due season, what once looked like delay will reveal itself as divine strategy. That little seed, against all odds, will break through the surface, not because it fought the soil, but because it honored its process. This is the spiritual lesson the cosmos is teaching you right now. You're not being punished. You're being positioned. You're not lost. You're in alignment. And what's happening to you isn't random, it's revelation. You see, the universe doesn't teach with long lectures and fancy words. No, it teaches through real life, through midnight tears and unanswered calls, through closed doors and quiet victories, through situations that make you question everything. And yet, if you stay still long enough, you'll see that even your hardest moment was a holy classroom. This lesson, it's not just about you. This is about how things work at the highest level. Truth, it will surface. Always. Justice, it will land. Precisely. Protection, it's already been dispatched, even when you couldn't feel it. And purpose? Oh, it will be fulfilled, no matter who tried to reroute it. Because spiritual law don't need a sheriff. It don't need a courthouse. It don't even need a crowd. God's got his own system. And baby, it runs on something way more powerful than revenge. It runs on righteousness. This right here, what you're seeing unfold, this is not karma. This is kingdom. This is divine order restoring itself. Not loudly, not with smoke and thunder, but with the quiet force of a river returning to its course. You're not watching drama. You're witnessing prophecy. High-definition proof that nothing meant for you can be withheld, and no lie can outlive the truth forever. So stand tall, lift your chin, you've survived the dirt. Now it's time to grow. Poetry is what your left unread is. It's literature that you're unavailable to take your call. Who is your new phone? Article. What your words could never teach. This deliberate absence does. They didn't pay attention when you explained. They rejected the evidence you presented. They downplayed your grief when you stated it. However, they sense your absence in their nervous system. Your calculated quiet elegantly and efficiently does what arguing could never do. It produces the enormous void where their own ideas take on the role of the unrelenting prosecutor, posing queries you never had to express. They are forced to ultimately face themselves in the mirror without deflecting, because it eliminates the easy diversion of defending themselves against you. It removes their honed skill of rephrasing your words into novel manipulations that would force you to defend yourself once more. It stops them from rewriting history while they talk to you, changing their story with every answer. Without the comfort of your forgiveness, it makes them sit uneasily in the worry of unresolved tension. It offers them the priceless gift of experiencing precisely what they provided for you in your hour of greatest need, the deafening sound of silence when you most needed to connect. You didn't stumble here by accident. You were led. If something in your spirit is stirring, don't ignore it. Tap Join to access exclusive content, prophetic insights, and a community of purpose-driven souls. This isn't just a membership. It's your moment of alignment. Step into who you were born to be. Welcome to the chosen. Observe them quietly from a safe distance as they move through the stages of consequence. Initially, they are confused, thinking, "They must not have seen my message," or "It must have gone to spam." This quickly turns into entitlement as they rage inside, "I can't believe they're ignoring me after everything I've done for them." When entitlement doesn't work, they become angry, thinking, "This is so childish. They must mature and go past it." They start to bargain when they realize that anger isn't working, thinking things like, "If they would just talk to me, I could explain everything, and they'd understand." When bargaining doesn't work, depression sets in with the painful realization, "I guess this is really over, and there's nothing I can do to fix it." Finally, if they have even a semblance of self-awareness, the realization that changes everything comes, "Wait, is this exactly how I made them feel when I did the same thing to them?" The most potent aspect is that you're recovering your energy, re-establishing your boundaries, and shifting your attention to the people who truly deserve your presence while they're whirling through this emotional storm. Now take on the viewpoint of the cosmic spectator. Consider this scenario from the perspective of stars who have seen entire civilizations come and go. Consider these occurrences from the perspective of galaxies that have witnessed the evolution of species from primitive forms to sophisticated consciousness. The human drama below appears both monumental and insignificant from this enlarged perspective. Though they think they are making their own decisions, each participant remarkably adheres to their soul script. Even though it seems chaotic from the ground up, every story twist contributes to the larger cosmic tale. You are a character and an author, an actor and an audience, a participant and a witness. You are given a unique viewpoint by this paradoxical posture, which allows you to completely feel while also seeing beyond the bounds of that experience. Because you are a multifaceted entity, momentarily focused on physical experience, you are born with this observer consciousness. As you observe the process of cosmic correction taking place in front of you, claim this enlarged consciousness. You're not here by chance. Feel the pull? Tap Join to unlock truth, purpose, and a tribe that gets it. This is more than a membership. It's your calling. Your entire system recalibrates when you stop feeding relationship parasites, and these seemingly miraculous changes are really the result of energy savings. Take note of what occurs in the void left by their departure. Mental clarity you didn't know was conceivable emerges when the fog you didn't even recognize lifts like morning mist. Unexpectedly, the persistent knot in your stomach releases itself, making room for true pleasure and appetite. Instead of tossing in anxiousness, the sleep that eluded you comes back with deep restorative and vivid dreams. As you stop losing resources to emergencies and unpaid loans, the money that always appeared to disappear inexplicably starts to accumulate. Once their discouragement no longer obscures your vision, the opportunities that weren't intended for you suddenly materialize in profusion. After the spring thaw, the blocked creativity flows like a river, carrying with it thoughts so brilliant that they even astonish you. Without their intentional uncertainty impairing your judgment, the decisions that appeared unattainable become glaringly obvious. As your energy field recovers to its natural lively state, you are drawn to the interactions that nourish rather than drain. What the saboteurs were actually blocking was never clear to them. They believed they were manipulating an individual rather than momentarily stopping a natural power in human form. They misinterpreted your generosity for naivete, your tolerance for weakness, and your complexity for misunderstanding. The fact that they were attempting to contain an ocean with a paper cup was beyond their narrow perception. They never understood that they were only creating transient shadows that, in contrast, enhanced your eventual brilliance rather than lowering it. Let's be realistic. Even while the knowing doesn't ease the hurt, those betrayals that seemed like cosmic accidents were actually precision tools created with a specific purpose. Nothing else could have exposed your special resilience superpower as their betrayal did. You found strength within yourself that you were unaware of when they drove you to the brink, and you remained intact. You felt every ounce of the pressure of the emotional weight that would have destroyed others, but it barely bent you. You discovered that you are capable of much more than you had previously thought. Your commitment would never have allowed them to do the essential relationship surgery that their betrayal accomplished. It was necessary to break off certain links entirely, but you were too devoted to your word and too true to your commitments to do it yourself. Their treachery freed you from relationships that were gradually destroying your soul, performing the amputation you couldn't bring yourself to undertake. Although the pain was unbearable, the infection is no longer contagious. Your BS detection system was impressively enhanced by their trickery. Instead of waiting for 15 billboards of warnings shouting danger, your intuition instantly detects red flags at the first flash. Your enhanced internal security system is functioning with heightened awareness when you get that uneasy sensation in your gut when someone isn't sincere. You are aware of the minute indications of dishonesty that have hit your defenses in the past. You were too accommodative to set boundaries for yourself because of their extreme behavior. Despite evidence to the contrary, you were brought up to see the best in people, to understand, and to give them second and seventh opportunities. You were finally allowed to respond. Absolutely not. Without feeling guilty or justified, because their deeds were so heinous. You no longer feel the need to justify your self-defense. Although you knew it was essential, their abandonment drove you to grow in ways you were not aware of. Although comfort zones are nice, they ultimately restrict your ability to grow. You were forced to leave the nest you had outgrown, but were scared to depart on your own because of their treachery. The free fall was unimaginably terrible until you realized that when the need arose, you could fly with amazing might. However, acknowledge one important reality about your experience. Contrary to what they thought, they were typecast in your life story. While they were truly playing the required antagonist that compels character development and obeying stage directives in your hero's journey, they mistakenly believed they were creating the screenplay. Their treachery wasn't a result of accident or bad luck. Rather, it was the precise trigger that triggered your strongest self's latent qualities, which would have remained dormant under normal circumstances. When justice appears in the material world, the invisible worlds rejoice at your triumph. As dawn finally arrives, the guides who accompanied you through the darkest nights are now happy. The ancestors who strengthened you when you thought you couldn't go on are now dancing joyfully as your vindication comes to pass. As a sign of this cosmic accomplishment, the stars themselves become more brilliant. When natural order is restored, the elements react. Feel the winds of change sweeping through your life, the firm ground steadily settling underfoot, the purifying waters removing the traces of conflict, and the transforming fire devouring what is no longer useful. The human desire for retribution is transcended in this festivity. The beauty of universal equilibrium returning itself is what matters, not punishment in and of itself. It concerns the flawless manifestation of cosmic law, proving its infallible functioning. It is about the outward expression of the justice that underlies everything, which is frequently concealed. Their strategies will be precisely and expertly tailored to your unique vulnerabilities. They'll start with, remember that time when, using emotional nostalgia and shared history to get past your present defenses. With statements like, I've changed so much you wouldn't recognize me, they will make promises of improvement and provide the redemption arc you had hoped for but never got. They will use phrases like, no one understands me like you do, to capitalize on your special link, which they previously ignored when it was convenient. Knowing that little compromises lead to bigger ones, they will try the foot-in-the-door tactic with harmless demands like, I just need your advice, not asking for anything else. By saying, I'm really struggling with exactly what you struggled with, they will fabricate false symmetry in an attempt to re-establish a connection. Keep in mind that this is about being mathematically correct in your energy transfers, not about being petty. It's realizing that your time, emotional stability, and practical help are valuable resources that should be directed toward people who would reciprocate your kindness. The universe exhibits itself through distinct patterns rather than through whispering. They didn't defend you, and you won't defend them while they're in jail. This is energetic accounting done perfectly. It is not spiritual evasion masquerading as enlightenment. This is the inescapable sum of the basic mathematics of human interaction. They never realized that their opposition wasn't stopping you from succeeding. Rather, it was just postponing the inevitable. Much like trying to block the sunrise with a baseball cap or keep back the sea with a sandwich bag. Their interference was only momentary and lacked strength. They didn't defend you, and you won't defend them while they're in jail. In that flawless symmetry, you finally realize that their worst punishment isn't the repercussions they are currently facing, but rather having to observe your unhindered success from the boundaries they created for themselves. And there it is, the restoration of cosmic order, the balancing of the scales, the profound but silent statement that no one who betrays a soul that is safeguarded by God can avoid the repercussions of that decision. They suffer the karmic consequences of their choices, while you remain strong and unaffected by the things that were intended to destroy you. Both cosmic and earthly justice have been served as a result of the universe's voice.